While India is moving from being the world's largest arms importer to being a self-reliant manufacturer of weapons, and that is exactly what's on display at the ongoing Aero Expo in Bengaluru. The second day of the Aero India show showcased innovation, partnerships and defense collaboration. Bilateral deals are being discussed. The event is underscoring India's growing prominence in the global defense landscape. From the launch of a cargo drone to the announcement of new collaborations, the day's developments signaled a strong commitment to advancing military partnerships. Defense ministers from multiple countries have come as a guest to Aero India. Defense Minister Rajnath Singh stressed the need to modernize the military and to boost domestic defense production to counter the rival China and its growing military strength and growing influence in both South and Southeast Asia. But the highlight of the Aero India so far has been the presence of the fifth generation stealth fighter jets by both Russia and by the United States. The Russian Sukhoi 57 and the American F-35, two of the world's most advanced fifth generation stealth fighter jets, both of them in the same air show, and that too in the backdrop of the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war, where America and Russia find themselves on either side of the political divide, either side of the military divide. Both the Sukhoi 57 and the F-35 Lightning took to the skies of Bengaluru on the very first day of Aero India. So which of these two fifth generation stealth fighter jets has the edge? It's a difficult question because the two aircraft were designed for different roles and developed under distinct economic and industrial differences. Here's how the Sukhoi 57 compares with the F-35 Lightning II. The F-35 is a Lockheed Martin's most widely deployed fifth-generation stealth fighter. It's got a length of 15.7 meters. The Sukhoi 57, which made its debut at Aero India, spans almost 20 meters in length. The wingspan, on the other hand, again, the Sukhoi 57 is slightly bigger than the F-35. The F-35 is at 10.7 meters. The Sukhoi is a little more bigger at 14 meters. The Sukhoi 57 also beats the lightning speed of the F-35 when it comes to maximum speed. Remember, the F-35s are at Mach 1.6, which is just under the speed of light, whereas the Sukhoi 57 is above Mach 2.5, which means close to 2,500 kilometers per hour. The F-35 has no thrust vectoring, while the Russian-made Sukhois have got 3D vectoring and extreme agility. The F-35 Lightning II has a combat range of 2,200 kilometers. The Sukhoi 57, on the other hand, has a longer range of close to 3,500 kilometers. About the loads that they're able to carry, the F-35 can carry external munitions with a 1x25mm GAU-22A cannon. The Sukhoi 57 can carry a 1x30mm cannon with external ammunition. The F-35 has an APG-81 ASA radar, which is distributed aperture system and an electro-optical targeting system. The Sukhoi 57, on the other hand, has an I-band radar and an infrared search and track. Both of them pass the stealth capabilities. The American jet has low radar cross-section and advanced passive detection, while the Russian jet, the Sukhoi, is optimized for reduced detection. But the estimated cost, and this is where it varies quite dramatically, the F-35 Lightning II costs anywhere between $80 to $90 million per unit, while the Sukhoi 57 costs about half of that. So at the Aero India in Bengaluru, the Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, which is at the forefront of the domestic defense manufacturing industry, showcased its dominance with flight displays featuring the Tejas Mark I. These, of course, have the GE 440 engines. CNN News 18 spoke to the HAL CMD DK Sunil because there have been concerns about the GE delaying the transfer of technology when it comes to the 414 engines, which is something that was agreed upon back in 2023 when Prime Minister visited Washington, D.C. That's an issue that could likely come up when PM meets Mr. Trump, President Trump, later this week. But here's the HAL CMD talking about the timelines both for the Tejas Mark I and the Tejas Mark II.
As you are aware, we flew 3 of the LCA Mark I Alpha yesterday. So we have started building this aircraft and testing them with Cat B engines, that is, and we will get these aircraft ready. We have had a setback in terms of engine supplies from General Electric, and they have been delayed since August 23. Now GE has assured us that they will deliver these engines from March 25 onwards, and we expect 12 engines in this year. So I think the technical issues are behind us, and we will be able to deliver these aircraft. Notwithstanding that, we are building the aircraft. We have also set up a line in Nasik. So we are building these aircraft and getting them ready.
So a host of defence deals expected, both in the France leg of the Prime Minister's visit as well as, of course, when he goes to the United States. Let's try and speak with retired Air Marshal Sanjeev Kapoor, especially when it comes to the fifth generation stealth fighters, which seem to be all the talk of town, Air Marshal, currently in the Aero Show in Bengaluru. You have the F-35s from the American side, you have the Sukhoi 57s from the Russians. But first things first, President Trump and Prime Minister Modi had that phone call in January, just ahead of the visit, which is going to happen tomorrow and day after, where President Trump said that he would like India to buy more defense equipment. Are fifth generation stealth fighters on the anvil? Is that something that India would be looking at, the F-35s or the F-18s? And how does India balance that with what we already have delivered from the French, which is the Rafales?
Plane is 4.5. The 4.5 generation. So the fifth generation typically, which have been used globally, and in the recent conflicts that you see going on in Israel and Russia, Ukraine, both these countries, the NATO as well as the Russians, have utilized their F-35s and Su-57s. Now, when you come typically comparing these two aeroplanes, in many things, the Su-57 is better. And in many things, the F-35 is better. F-35 is more proven because it has taken part in Middle East, it has taken part in campaigns across. Whereas the Russian utilization has primarily been Ukraine and a little bit in Syria. So towards that, there is a difference. But let's bring our discussion to the main point which you began with.
Yeah.
The ANCA program is basically hinging on the F-414 engines, which the American GE is supposed to give. Yeah. So I'm sure in this visit of the Honorable Prime Minister, these discussions will come up with the American leadership about the delay in delivery of these aeroplanes, because our LCA project itself is getting delayed because of the 404, which was to be given earlier, delayed. So that would be one reason why this thing. The second reason which I feel the India has already, the visit is so programmed, I feel it strategically. The Prime Minister has gone from France to America.
Yeah.
So these matters would have been surely discussed in France. Now I take back your viewers and you into history. Not long ago, in July 2023, about 1.5 years plus ago, there was a company, the French company called Safran. So this company was to joint develop and combat engine along with DRDO, because engine manufacturing is the critical part today. And they also offered Safran at that stage to produce Indian multi-role helicopters. Again, the Safran company offered. So this had moved to a great extent at that stage. But somewhere in 2024, this thing fizzled out. I don't know the reasons for back end this thing.
Okay.
But in this while, from 2024, India has struck two very important deals with the French. One is we are buying 26 Rafales M, that is the maritime version for the Indian Navy.
Yeah.
And we are getting 3 Scorpion submarines. So this will add to the naval power. Now, on the sidelines, what I feel is that India is already using a lot of equipment from France, be it Rafales, be it Mirage 2000s, be it Jaguars, be it Chetak, Cheetahs. So all have French. And French being the country which were the first producers of fly-by-wire. So the Airbus aircraft which all of us traveled. The fly-by-wire came about 40 years ago. The Mirage 2000, which came in 80s, has fly-by-wire. So the technology of the French in producing fine things, especially avionics and this kind of thing, is exceptional. So
but Marshal, if I may, it's with Trump, it's slightly different because he views it as a business transaction, not necessarily from a tactical or even a strategic point of view. So how does India balance that? And the point that you were making earlier about the GE 414 cooperation, I understand that the reluctance is for transfer of technology. And that's always been a case with American-made equipment. How does India navigate that sensitivity?
The solution, Jaga, is we have to be self-reliant. Till we are dependent, because the tap may close at any time. Now, the present conflict is a live example, the Russia-Ukraine conflict. We had a lot of equipment in IFOs which were Ukrainian manufactured.
Correct.
We have a lot of equipment which is Russian manufactured. We have got air defense equipment like S-400 and others which are Russian manufactured. Now, with this conflict, obviously they would like to produce things for their own usage earlier, and then whatever is left would be exported to other countries which are there. So if tomorrow the war or the conflict increases to a level wherein every country would like to keep those assets for themselves, you will find we have to be self-reliant. Now, self-reliance in, I always tell this, the aircraft engine manufacturing is like manufacturing capabilities like nuclear. Nobody will share. Only 4 to 5 countries globally manufacture aircraft engines, and they don't want to part. Because for your viewers and for a common man, the metallurgy required to produce a jet engine, especially which is operating at 1000 degrees centigrade at the hot end, which is rotating at 15,000 RPM. Metallurgy is so different. The machine cutting and lathe is so complex that we may design also. We may produce also, but to develop and get the equipment is the key part which we don't have. So we will have to have initially a partnership like the C295 model which has just happened. The Prime Minister inaugurated in October with the Spanish Prime Minister.
Correct.
Wherein we have bought 16 aeroplanes directly from CASA Airbus, where Tata is the Indian company.
Yeah.
And the indigenous component is 48%, which is likely to go up to 78% in the coming years. But this remaining 22%, which is there, is what we are discussing now. This part is a weak area. We may develop anything, but like ejection seat for a fighter aeroplane, the aero engines, the high-end radars, avionics, electronic warfare suits, certain kinds of weapons, we have to catch up to it.
All right. Air Marshal Sanjeev Kapoor, it's always a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you very much for joining us here on CNN News 18. Thank you.